Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. We have another post-race report to do. Sitting in front of the new 146 sprint boat, but this race report is a total different race that we just finished up in my hometown of Wrangell, Alaska, where all my racing kind of started back when I was literally a teenager, probably 14, 15 years old, racing a 10-foot tunnel hole with a 50 horse outboard. It's been many years since I've driven any kind of a sort of boat up in my hometown, and I made the big leap of shipping my STV Euro, little pickle fork tunnel hole boat with a 225 Merc on it, back up to my hometown to go up there and race. They have one race a year, and it's held on the 4th of July. So this little town, they're kind of crazy up there. Like, they like boats, and that's how I got started into all this crazy boat stuff. Is, man, they're small, they're totally overpowered with huge Mercs, and that's all part of me. So it was awesome to go back there and be a part of that again. And the awesome warm welcome back. I mean, I haven't lived in Wrangell for 25 years plus. And just like, if you're a Wrangellite, you're always a Wrangellite. So it was just an awesome reception, an awesome race weekend, really. I don't know how to really put it to words. But, so I shipped my boat up there. It got up there about a week early, but I was working. And the barge line, I think it takes like 3 days to get up there. It wasn't cheap to ship it up, but got it up there in time. And we flew up to Wrangell on July 2nd. As soon as we land, my good friend Gary, he's like, let's get in the boat, we're going up the river. So the Stikine River is our playground, and we took one of their jet boats up there, spent the day up at the hot tubs, and of course there's a little bit of drinking going on and shenanigans, and it was just an awesome time. We ran into a small mechanical issue with the shift linkage on the boat. Long story short, we ended up idling back about 20 miles down this river and stayed at a cabin. So our 1-day trip or 3-hour tour turned into a 2-day river trip. And so we didn't get back into town until the 3rd, kind of mid to late morning. So I'm like, okay, we got to get going on this STV. I got to get it out in the salt water and run my different props and stuff. So me and my good friend, awesome friend, Kelly Davis, also of the Jolly Roger team, as you probably know, we jump in the STV, we launch, and all right, Kelly, jump in, we're going to go do some test runs. We get in front of the city dock right there in town, and we go zip one fast run, worked pretty good, and we turn around, and we're coming back the other direction, and about a quarter of the way into it, the boat just went blah, like it just hit a rock wall and just came to a stop. Didn't know, the motor was still running, but there was no power at all. So I tried it again a couple times. I'm like, oh my God, I just shipped this boat up, 800 miles on a barge, and now my boat is dead. This is not good. And it's a holiday weekend. So this is where my other gigantic kudos goes out, shout out to the Bay Company there in Wrangell. They've been the Merc dealer, probably one of the prominent Merc dealers in the United States. They sell a ton of Mercuries up there, but it's a holiday weekend, but it's also a small town. So we start making some phone calls. Me and Kelly take the boat to the shop. We pull the plugs, trying to see what's going on. We couldn't figure out what's going on. So we're like, there's a couple characters in Wrangell, Dave Powell and Mikey Otteson, and they're awesome boat mechanics, but again, it's a holiday weekend, and I feel horrible trying to get a hold of them, but people just get a hold of them, they'll come help. So I get a hold of them. They didn't recognize my phone number because it's from Oak Harbor, and they're like, who's this 360 guy calling me? So I get a hold of Mikey, and he says, bring it on down. So we go down to the shop there, and I had quite a bit of maintenance done to the boat right before. We had some electrical and fuel pump issues. Thought we had that all sorted out, but so like I said, it ran one good race. So, man, Dave and Mikey, they're tearing through this thing. They're testing the stator. They're checking the coil packs. They're checking spark plugs and spark plug wires, and they're just like, they figured it out finally that on the left side, all 3 of those cylinders were pretty much dead. So we're like, okay, it's probably a power pack. So we started going down that road. The problem is And the guy that I take my boat to here locally is Jimmy Powell, David Powell's brother, who's also an awesome Merc dealer and mechanic. And he swapped out a power pack before, but they swapped a different one. And so lo and behold, we had a bad power pack. So thank God. I'm like, the one good thing is I felt like there's probably not a better Merc mechanic than those two guys up there in Wrangell, and plus Jimmy. Side story to that. Anyway, so huge thank you, Dave, Mike. Thank you for coming to the rescue on your holiday weekend and getting the boat in the water. It was awesome. So got it out there, tested out fine, and we're back in business. The boat's running good. So let's do a little talking about the boats up there. There's a handful of these glass ply 5.5s. I want to say that they're kind of they come off a Donzi mold. Actually, they're a pretty deep V, and those have always been the boats historically that have been pretty fast. They do probably 60, 65, deep V. So in terms of like just kind of skipping on the water, they're not crazy fast, but they're still a good boat. Then guys started buying hydro steams up there. And everybody knows you can get hydro steams up over 100 miles an hour if you're doing them right. So there's a handful of those. And then my good buddy Gary, who we went up the river with and stayed at our house, Gary has a sweet, beautiful, first time I've seen it, Allison. And Gary's up in the low 90s too. So there's some fast boats. And then the guy that's been kind of crushing it up there, Randy Easterly, he has a Mirage, same exact motor that I have, the Merc 225 Pro Max. And it's kind of funny. He showed me his GPS. The best he's done is like 101.7. And I said, Randy, you gotta be kidding me. Here's my personal best. It was a 101.62. That's the fastest both of our boats have gone. So they're very, very close boats. He's had his a little bit longer than me, has been driving it and kind of been doing some tweaking with some things. So I honestly didn't know what to expect. I knew my boat was fast, but I also knew that there's fast boats up there. So I was just kind of excited to go head to head and let the chips fall where they may. So we went in there and I'd kind of done some practicing on my launches. So the race is an 1,800 foot drag race. They put two boats at a time and it's a double elimination. So it's for drag boats, it's a fairly long race, 1,800 feet. So we were getting in the low to mid 90s on those. It was also the first time I've driven in any kind of like chop in that boat. All my speed runs have been on pretty calm lakes, fairly glassy, low wind kind of a deal. You'd see a boat, you'd let it settle out, and okay, I'm gonna go for a speed run, and that's where I hit my 101. But up there, there's fishing boats coming in and out of the harbor. There's a yacht out in the bay. There's people on jet ski. There's boats running all around. So there's a good chop out in the water. So that was a kind of a first for me. Plus, there's a lot of driftwood coming down from the river. It's right there. The Stikine is a huge river, and the river was high, and there's all these kind of logs and sticks and crap floating out in the river. So there was definitely some more obstacles and some things to contend with than on a little 6,000 foot lake for sure. So we go into these races, and like I said, no expectations of what's going to happen, and I'd kind of been working on my launches, and then we go in against a guy in an inboard jet boat. That one went pretty well. However, we had him by quite a bit of speed, so I didn't get a really good judge on how the launch was. I think, right off of the second go, I drew Randy Easterly in his Mirage. And and it's a kind of a slow idle start. We get us lined up, and flag drops, and man, boom, Easterly, he's already 4 or 5 boats ahead of me before the nose even comes down. I'm like, well, this is already over. So that was a kind of a bad launch, and that's essentially the big lesson learned from that race. It's 100% in the whole shot. Randy and I have talked, like, unless you're 10, 15 miles an hour faster than the other guy, you're never going to chase them down once they get that jump on you. So it's all in that whole shot. So he was gone, not even close. And I think I drew Gary in the Allison, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to have my motor trimmed up a little bit higher. I just feel like it was the prop was almost kind of biting too much, and it was just kind of bogging the engine down. It wouldn't rev and get me some RPMs to get going. So I used a little bit more trim on the nose to get the boat up and out of the water. And I also started, as soon as you hit it, you start trimming. And with my trim, I do a mental count of 5 seconds. I'm running that trim up. 1 potato, 2 potato, all the way up to 5 seconds to get that bow up and start riding on that cushion of air. So it's a process. So I did better against Gary. It was a very tight race. I'll try to put either a still or a quick clip from that particular run. I think that was the closest 2 boats out there. That was a fun one because I saw him like right in the corner of my end. Like, I ain't lived it. Here comes some chop, and I can't lift because Gary's right there. So that was a good race. So then, because of the double elimination, I got to go in there against Randy for the finals, and I did a better hole shot. It was better. Randy's mastered it, and he's got a good boat. There's no denying that. So it was closer, but still I got some work to do with the launch. But overall, it was an awesome week. I was pretty damn thrilled to get second place, honestly. I think the goal would be to get a little bit closer and, kind of for the crowd and everything. Everybody loves those tight races. So if you ever get a chance, put Wrangell, Alaska on your radar. 4th of July weekend. The weather was beautiful. The crowd, I'd almost guess that the crowd probably closest to doubles in size for the holiday weekend. It's where the whole anybody that was ever a local Wrangellite, it's the annual migration back home. It's a huge homecoming. So if you want to do a small town Americana 4th of July, put Wrangell, Alaska on your radar and make it happen. If you happen to have a fast boat and you want to come run with these guys, let me know. Send me a message. I'll tell you how the whole shipping up it wasn't cheap, but I'm just going to leave my boat up there now, and so ship it up once. There's other ways to do it. You can make contact with a fishing boat that comes down, or a tender or whatever, and there's ways to get your boat up there for cheaper. But we'd love to get some more boats in town and put on a show for the crowd. So hit me up if you would like. So here I am sitting in front of the 146. I did a couple things with the reverse bucket. I decided to go ahead and put a splash guard back there. As the reverse bucket was coming down, it was throwing a little bit of spray. Once it was all the way down, so just a couple things, and then right up here on the bow area, I gotta put a little spray guard on there. We were taking some spray over the bow and into the face on that. So just a couple quick things to get that boat ripping and ready for the next upcoming race in Port Angeles. So that's what I've got going today and next couple days. And then I still got to get to work on the Mini. So that's the recap. Awesome time. Go to Wrangell, Alaska. You won't be disappointed with the show, with the townspeople, and just the all, like I said, the all Americana vibe that town puts out. Thanks for watching. Stand by for some more stuff on the upcoming PA race, as well as I got to finish this thing, get it out, and pull the Mini in here, because now we're coming up on mid-July and I still don't have a Mini. So I got to get to work on that. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.